What's up guys, Sean Nalawani, SeanNal.com, and in this video today we're talking about how to lose the last layer of fat. So maybe those last 5 or 10 pounds that always seem to be the hardest to get rid of. A lot of people out there will say that they were able to go from, maybe 28% body fat down to 15% body fat with relative ease, but now they've hit a fat loss plateau and they just can't get leaner no matter what they do. Before I jump into the video, if you do enjoy this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button below to stay up to date on future videos, and click that little bell notification button as well. That way you'll be notified anytime new content is available so that you don't miss out on anything. So here's the reality. When it comes to losing the last 5 to 10 pounds of fat, there really are no special secrets involved. The basic principles are still the same. It's just harder to actually execute them. Just like muscle growth becomes naturally harder over time the more overall mass you've put on, the same thing holds true for fat loss, okay? The leaner you get, the harder it becomes to lean down further and further. And once you've hit around 15% body fat or so as a male, maybe 22% or so for a female, for each percentage point that you try to drop lower than that, it's gonna get increasingly tougher. Our bodies are evolutionarily wired to carry a certain amount of body fat just for basic health purposes. And so the further and further you try to push the envelope, the more your body's gonna fight back and the tougher it's gonna be for you, because it's just responding automatically to the environment and it has no idea what you're actually trying to do here in terms of achieving a lean looking body. But when it all comes down to it, fat loss is still primarily just a matter of maintaining an ongoing calorie deficit. That's what stimulates your body to break down its fat stores for use as energy. So if you're trying to lose that last layer of fat, but you've hit a fat loss plateau, it just means that you're no longer in a calorie deficit. The same number of calories that gets you from 30% body fat down to 22% body fat is not going to be the same number that it will take to get from 22% down to 15 or 15% down to 12 and 11 and so on. You're going to need to adjust further, which means either slightly reducing your calorie intake or increasing your activity level. So maybe an extra cardio session or just some additional movement throughout the day, or a combination of both of those. It's mostly just a matter of discipline and being willing to really dial things in terms of your training and primarily your nutrition. So many people will come to me and say that they can't lose the last 5 to 10 pounds, even though they're tracking their calories closely and they're training hard and training consistently. But in most cases, if you really sit down with somebody and you truly audit their diet step by step, 7 days a week, you'll usually see that somewhere in there, certain errors are being made. Either they're not tracking their intake as accurately as they thought, or extra meals and snacks and things like that just happen to work their way in and they aren't being accounted for. And those errors add up enough throughout the course of the week to where calorie intake and calorie expenditure end up about equal, and so no extra body fat gets lost. It's not because your metabolism is damaged and your body has just magically stopped responding. Usually, in most cases, it's just that you need to be much more diligent with everything in general. When you're trying to lose that last bit of fat, hunger is going to be more of an issue. Your energy is going to go down. Training performance will also go down. But these are things that you just have to plow through basically and stick to your plan regardless of them. So another question to ask yourself is it really worth it for you in the first place to get leaner than you are right now? When it comes to losing the last layer of fat, that's going to mean different things to different people. If, for example, losing the last 5 to 10 pounds means going from, say, 17% body fat as a male down to 13%, then I'd say that's a perfectly reasonable goal to have, because 13% is still within a realistic, healthy, sustainable range. And going from 17% to 13% will make a pretty noticeable difference to your physique in terms of overall muscle definition and leanness. On the other hand, if losing that last layer of fat means you're trying to go from 13% body fat down to 10% body fat, in that case, you might want to really evaluate if that's even necessary in the first place. If it's for a temporary thing, like a certain event, photo shoot, vacation, whatever, then that's fine. But if we're talking about a body fat percentage that you're going to maintain year round, a true 10% is actually quite low. And that's actually probably the lowest percentage I'd recommend any guy try to permanently sustain. Anything below that, unless you are a genetic outlier or you're on drugs, usually isn't going to be healthy or sustainable in most cases. You're going to be on relatively low calories and you're going to have to track things much more closely on a permanent basis. And you won't be in an optimal place in terms of energy, training performance, libido, things like that. For most guys, I think about 12 to 15% body fat is a much more realistic year-round percentage. And that's still actually quite lean because most people way underestimate their true percentage to begin with. 12% body fat is pretty lean for most guys. You'll be leaner than like 95% plus of the population if you're at that level, probably more like 98%. I got my body fat tested a couple years ago and it came in at 14%, and that put me leaner than 97% of guys at my age according to their stats, even at 14%. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest just aimlessly trying to get leaner and leaner because you're trying to look like some Instagram fitness model or whatever. Really sit down and look at it and honestly decide for yourself if it's worth the effort. Because again, the leaner you get, the harder and harder it becomes, not just to get there, but also to maintain it. There's a very big difference in terms of maintaining 14% body fat versus 10%, not just in terms of how you'll feel, but the additional dietary and lifestyle freedom that comes with just keeping an extra few percent of body fat. Now, if you have decided that it is worth it for you to get leaner, or like I mentioned before, if you're 16% now and you just want to get to maybe 12 or 13%, again, it's really just a matter of continuing to create a calorie deficit and really just dial things in more closely. If your body weight is stagnant, then you need to reduce your calories until it starts dropping. Shaving off 100 to 150 calories from your intake per day is a good starting point, or you can also increase your activity level as well. Once you have that in place, you need to track it closely. You can't just be estimating things anymore. You can't be sneaking in an extra tablespoon of peanut butter or eating big cheat meals and not accounting for them, or adding in little snacks here and there and not tracking them. If you're currently on a fat loss plateau and things aren't moving, that's the time when you really have to be diligent with your diet and be really honest with yourself about exactly what it is that you're consuming and what your true calorie intake actually is. Hunger is also likely going to be more of an issue for you as you're trying to get rid of those last 5 to 10 pounds. So you really want to start employing more strategies to control it. And I'll link a post I did in the description box below that outlines 12 tips you can use to reduce hunger while on a diet. I don't want to go ahead and cover all of those in this video. Otherwise, it'll end up just being way too long. But basic things like increasing your vegetable intake, eating more fiber, really focusing on maximizing your food volume relative to calories by eating less calorie dense foods, making sure you're getting enough protein, drinking enough water, things like that. Incorporating a weekly refeed day, that can also help out as well. And that's gonna be where you eat at your calorie maintenance level once a week with the increase in calories mainly coming from carbs. That's just a way to boost your leptin levels back up temporarily and give you a nice physical and mental break to look forward to each week. And also, if you've been dieting for a prolonged period, then beyond refeed days, what you can also use is a full 1 to 2 week diet break. That will also give you some of the extra energy you might need to recharge and to plow through that last phase of fat loss. And a diet break is essentially just an extended refeed where you eat at your calorie maintenance level for a full 1 to 2 weeks before going back into a deficit. And you can do that for every roughly 1 to 3 months of consistent dieting. And one other thing to experiment with is different daily layouts for your meals in terms of the frequency and the timing. As long as the total calories are the same for the entire day, it won't make any actual difference to your fat burning results, whether you eat, say, 6 small meals a day or 4 medium-sized meals or 2 large meals or some other variation of that. And some people do better on different layouts in terms of controlling their appetite. You can try eating more calories earlier on in the day and fewer later on, or vice versa. Intermittent fasting is another option that some people do well on. So if hunger is an issue for you in that final phase of fat loss, you'll want to try playing around to find a specific meal frequency that best suits you in terms of controlling your appetite. For myself, that usually means pushing a higher percentage of my calories until later on in the day, but everybody's a bit different, so you have to find what works best for you. So just a few ideas there for you, but at the end of the day, fat loss, again, comes down to maintaining a calorie deficit, and as you get leaner and you're trying to lose that last bit of fat, maintaining that deficit just becomes more challenging since you're gonna have to be more diligent with your dietary tracking, and because hunger and energy and things like that are gonna become more of an issue for you. So it really just comes down to basic discipline and hard work if you've decided that getting leaner is worth it to you at this stage. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope this advice was helpful. If you want to eliminate all the guesswork and grab a complete step-by-step plan that shows you exactly how to train, eat, and supplement to reach your desired level of leanness as efficiently as possible, as well as how to transition into a proper muscle building phase after your cut is over, then you can check out my complete step-by-step body transformation blueprint by clicking here or by visiting btblueprint.com. The link for that is in the description box. Make sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram if you aren't already. The links for that are also below. And the official website is over at seannell.com. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.